Instagram came out of one, wanting to be my own boss. I was like, you know what? I want to work for myself. I want to work on ideas. I really hope I'm going to make money.
This is Kevin Systrom. In 2010, he launched Instagram. 3 years later, he sold it to Facebook for $1 billion. But Instagram nearly didn't happen. His first app was a complete disaster and only had about 100 active users after its launch. Until one day, during a conversation with his wife, he had an epiphany that changed the course of his life. He went on to build one of the most popular social media apps and became a billionaire. This is the story of how a single reply sparked the idea for a $100 billion company. Kevin was born on December 30th, 1983. He grew up in Holliston, Massachusetts, a wealthy suburb of Boston. During high school, Kevin was introduced to computer programming. His interest grew from playing Doom 2, and he even created his own levels. As a teenager, Kevin was obsessed with record collecting and DJing. While still in high school, he used to have his friends sneak him into nightclubs in the Boston area open for established DJs. Kevin applied to Stanford University. He had planned to study computer science, but once he arrived, he decided to switch majors to management science and engineering. Kevin soon became interested in photography. During his junior year, he spent a semester in Florence, a city in central Italy, to study photography. It was in Florence that Kevin stumbled upon the aesthetic that would define Instagram in the early days. One of his professors showed him a cheap film camera called a Holga, which takes hip, vintage-looking photos. Right before his senior year at Stanford, Kevin interned at a podcasting company called Odeo. Odeo was founded by Evan Williams, who went on to create Twitter. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey was also working at Odeo at the time, and he and Kevin became good friends. In 2004, while Kevin was still in college, he met Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg. He tried to recruit him to work for Facebook, but Kevin thought Facebook was just a fad and turned him down. After graduation, Kevin was offered a job at Google. After 3 years at Google, Kevin left to work at a social travel recommendation startup called Nextstop. Around the same time, Kevin began working on his own app, which he initially named Bourbon, after his favorite spirit. The app combined location-based social networking and photo sharing. He made the prototype of the app and pitched it to Baseline Ventures and Andreessen Horowitz during a party. After the first meeting, he decided to quit his job in order to work on Bourbon full-time. Within 2 weeks of quitting his job, he received a $500,000 seed funding round from both Baseline Ventures and Andreessen Horowitz. Soon after, Kevin brought on Mike Krieger as a co-founder. Mike also graduated from Stanford, just 2 years behind Kevin. Soon after Mike joined, the pair decided to focus on Bourbon. On its launch, the app completely tanked. Bourbon only had around 100 active users. Most users who tried the app said it was far too complicated and did too much. Kevin and Mike's first venture together was a complete disaster. Instead of trying to fix the issues of Bourbon, they pivoted. Kevin and Mike decided to ditch Bourbon and instead focused on building a photo-sharing app. Back then, photo-sharing apps were already quite common, but there wasn't an app that allowed users to post great-looking photos for their followers. Kevin and Mike were working on their app until one day, while Kevin was walking along the beach with his wife, he asked his wife whether she was interested in his photo-sharing app. But his wife said that she wasn't interested. Kevin said that his friends used filters on their photos. So she just replied, "Well, you should probably have filters then." Her reply went on to change his life. On that same day, Kevin went home to his computer and started to make the first ever Instagram filter. Called X Pro 2, it is still used in the app today. In October 2010, Kevin and Mike officially changed the name to Instagram. The name was a combination of Instant and Telegram. When the app went live, more than 25,000 people downloaded it in the first 24 hours, crashing Instagram's servers. Even celebrities like Kim Kardashian, Justin Bieber, and Beyoncé started using the app. In 2012, Facebook had been in months of turmoil and scandals. Mark Zuckerberg even saw Instagram as a threat to Facebook. So, in April 2012, Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook acquired Instagram for $1 billion. Going into the deal, Kevin owned 40% of Instagram, so he made an estimated $400 million from the sale. After Facebook's acquisition of Instagram, the app was continuously being developed and improved upon. Instagram added more and more features for its users. The app continued its success as it gained more users year after year. It also started to become one of Facebook's biggest revenue drivers as its popularity increased. However, in 2017, Instagram was accused on multiple occasions of copying various new functions from its closest competitor, Snapchat. Regarding the issue, Kevin argued that all new apps launched by tech companies nowadays are remixes of existing apps, and all ideas are original when you remix them and bring your own flavor. Despite Instagram's success, however, there were reportedly growing tensions with Mark Zuckerberg over the direction of the app. Instagram's autonomy began to crumble. Then, in September 2018, Kevin and Mike abruptly announced that they were stepping down as CEO and CTO respectively. After leaving Instagram, Kevin and Mike kept a low profile, though they did attend a few conferences in 2019. Kevin has been quiet on Instagram too. He has since deleted all the photos he posted on the app over the past couple of years. Today, Instagram is still one of the most popular social media apps in the world with over 1 billion active monthly users. Instagram is one of Facebook's most valuable assets. In 2020, Instagram generated an estimated $24 billion in revenue. Nowadays, Instagram has a valuation of $100 billion. These days, Kevin is worth an estimated $1.7 billion. He's recently been involved in the fashion industry and has met and worked with several well-known designers. He's also attended the Met Gala multiple times. Kevin took a failed app and turned it into one of the most popular social media apps in the world. He managed to build a company and sell it for $1 billion in just 3 short years. There's a lesson in every story. What can we learn from Kevin's journeys to success? Instead of persevering with bourbon, Kevin decided to pivot. That became the single most important decision he ever made with his company. A pivot is fundamentally changing the direction of a business when you realize the current products or services aren't meeting the needs of the market. Kevin recognized that the market didn't want all the complicated features such as bookings and point systems, but instead wanted a simple app that allowed users to share good-looking photos with their followers. So he pivoted. A big part of entrepreneurship is the ability to solve problems. Kevin identified a problem in the market. At the time, there wasn't an app that allowed people to add filters to photos to share with their followers. So he created an app that solved the problem and was massively rewarded, ultimately making him incredibly rich and successful. What do you guys think? Was he a brilliant developer who revolutionized the industry, or did he just rip off other apps? The comment section in this one will be very interesting. Thanks for staying till the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to hit the like button, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content like this. Also, be sure to check out our other videos on this channel. Links are in the description, and we'll see you in the next one.